Hey, sports fans, Coach Nick here, and welcome to the B-Ball Breakdown live show coming at you as always on a Monday morning on the LA side. As always, I'm joined by Andrew Combo Salp to discuss the latest and the greatest in the NBA. Combo, great to see you as always.
Great to see you as well. How are things?
Things are fine. How was your Super Bowl Sunday?
Didn't pay much attention to it, to be totally honest. No, I went to the gym, got some hoops in, then I watched a little bit of the Knicks Celtics, went to my mom's house, and then I worked on some content stuff, and I really didn't pay any attention to the Super Bowl. Is that crazy?
I mean, it wasn't a really good game, so
I heard it was all kicks and a Bad Bunny concert. That's what I heard. That's
yeah, Bad Bunny. I mean, I gotta tell you, I actually speak Spanish to some degree, but he's going way too fast for me to do that. They didn't put subtitles on, which I thought was interesting. But I have to tell you, the way they choreographed it and filmed it was amazing. Like that, to be able to do something like that on a football field in a quick change during a halftime was crazy. How cool that was.
Yeah, it's good to be, I guess, in unison with the zeitgeist, if you will. But like, is it okay just to not do what everybody else is doing? I think that's good, man. I think that's good. I just didn't feel like watching it.
Yeah. And when you mean when everyone else is doing it, you mean like going
like the Super Bowl? It's like a thing that everybody basically in the country is doing. So I guess some people would feel like I should be doing it too. But at the end of the day, it's like, I don't know. I'm just not interested.
Okay. All right. Yeah. We're also concerned that maybe you were watching the Turning Point USA alternative halftime show. No.
Oh, no, I have no idea what that is.
No, they had Kid Rock and a bunch of other B-list performers trying to keep the hype going. It was pretty sad.
Wait. So you had options at halftime?
Well, the crazies decided to have their optional because they don't like all this twerking stuff. Combo. They don't like people dancing around having a good time on the TV. They don't want to see that. They want to see good, wholesome, viable thumping stuff.
A little twerking could be good. It could be good, Coach Nick.
I'm just saying that complaint about they're dancing too.
Wait. Who was twerking?
We had some dancers out there that were doing dancing, but there's a guy named Elvis that people were complaining about dancing to lasciviously back in the day. This is not a new complaint.
Oh, Elvis, yeah, Elvis. That's a great movie about Elvis that came out not too long ago, actually.
Really? Maybe. I don't know. I wasn't a huge fan. I thought it was kind of creepy. I thought Tom Hanks was pretty creepy in the movie, and it was like,
my mom loved Elvis, by the way, the real Elvis.
Yeah. Hey, there's lots of love, but we should probably let's get into let's move from Elvis because Elvis didn't play basketball as far as I know. But
let's move to the Elvis of basketball, James Harden.
Yeah. Okay. There you go. Elvis. James Harden is in the building, and he's playing in the building in Cleveland now. They had an interesting game against the Kings. Really struggled, by the way. We're down late in that game and had to kind of come back. The Kings are no good. We'll probably talk about them in a minute about how the tanking thing is going on these days. But man, their defense and man, they're not organized. And man, Doug Christie, I don't know. And again, we can't figure out whether it's by design or not. But we'll talk a little bit more about that. But let's get to the Harden debut. So yes, thumbs up. It was a good debut overall.
I mean, it really just tells us what we already knew, that James Harden is really good at basketball. He can make every pass in the book. He makes the tough pass look easy. He's going to make Jared Allen better. And the only thing is, how do Donovan Mitchell and him figure it out against better teams? Because they are both top 20 usage players and they're both ball dominant. But, it's almost like going to play pickup, right? Like they didn't even need practice. I know they're playing against a bad team, but it looked pretty seamless against each other. Like when you're going to the gym, you might not have ever played with this great player before, right? But you see he's a great player. You can kind of figure it out really quick and just play ball. And that's what they did. Yeah,
they're figuring it out. They're trying to figure it out, and if this is the baseline, then they're in pretty good shape because they're going to, on the margins, clean some things up and some rotations. You can see the computer in James Harden's brain kind of going through all the different, permutations and figuring it out. Okay, where can I get Allen the ball? Where does he like it? How do I get it? The timing. All that stuff. And really quickly, by the way, let's say a quick shout out to Martin Jose. Always good to see you, Martin. We have Coco Melon from the Philippines, Puso. And any thoughts on the Lakers? How far can they go in the playoffs? It's a good question. And don't forget, if you have a question you want us to answer on the show, the best way to do that is with the super chat function over on YouTube side. It'll really help us keep the show going. We really need your help in these times. And so to get back to Harden. So I think he might have broken his record for pocket passes in this game. I mean, he literally was just every time coming through pocket pass, and he's so good at that. He gets so much focus on that. He is used to his whole career that way. That I think the Cavs are going to be looking at this, going, okay, this is how do we continue to figure out how to get guys like Jared Allen, like you mentioned, in more scoring opportunities. I saw him set up Jared Allen a lot. He ended up with how many points? 29 points in that game, and it was all 11 for 12 from the field. And so most of those, I think, were assisted by Harden. And then on the flip side, we had Mitchell had 35 points. I don't know. I got to kind of pull it apart. I'm pretty sure he had most of those points when Harden was off, which is good. Like, he can be the focus when Harden is getting a rest, when they stagger those minutes. And then when they're together, Harden, like I predicted, had the ball in his hands more than Mitchell.
Do you like the idea when players and different lineups play different styles, or you like to see the same style throughout the course of a game for a team?
I think that works. I like, as like a change up to someone's fastball, right? And all of a sudden you're playing a different way.
Yeah. Especially that works a lot defensively too, throwing a different look. That first play usually messes up the offense for the other team. So that's interesting.
Yeah, for sure. That all comes into it as well when you have Mitchell and you have Harden out there defensively. Like, how are you going to solve that? They didn't have Evan Mobley out there. And so, we got to kind of wait maybe to see until he's back, and then we can get the whole sense. Keon Ellis, as I predicted, like, they're going to love him. He comes in scorching from three, giving them some more spacing, can play defense well. Yeah. So I think that Kenny's going to love him in these lineups.
And is Darius Garland that much better than Schroeder?
Is Darius Garland that much better than Schroeder? Like, it could come down to like how good of a teammate you are, But
I mean, that's a nice. I mean, it's still the honeymoon phase. Maybe they can maximize that, with the locker room stuff. I mean, Schroeder's a good player, man.
He is good. He is good. I mean, he wasn't very efficient in this game in the 17 minutes. He seemed like he was trying to force some stuff to kind of make his mark. Versus like Keon Ellis, who's just not playing in the flow, and that's his role anyway. And again, getting these shots from down the arc, he's going to take like mostly threes, I'm sure, like in that Merrill mold.
So you don't think? I mean, defensively, you don't think of James Harden, right? But it's better than Garland in the sense that he's like a little sturdier, a little bigger,
maybe
a little more resistance, and then also you had Keon Ellis. So I mean, you probably got better defensively, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. They just have to get. You need to have Mobley back there with Allen to anchor that in case they're getting beat.
I don't know. I don't know if I love the two big lineup when you have Harden. I don't know, and Donovan for spacing reasons, Right. But I mean, at the end of the day, you got the talent defies the fit, and you need to put your best players on the court. But I kind of like the one big lob threat with Harden,
That's going to be a really interesting conundrum for them for sure. Because if you want to go Harden, Mitchell, Mobley, and Allen, and then who are you going to have as the small forward?
Karis LeVert, right? Or is he still there? Oh no, he's
or Merrill.
Is LeVert still there?
No,
he's at the Pistons. Wait, where's LeVert now?
I think that sounds right. The Pistons? No, where did I just see him? I was just watching him play.
I was just watching him.
I think it's Detroit. So
Detroit,
and Detroit, by the way, just overwhelming defense. They can just smother.
They added Herder. Good pickup.
Yeah. There's some interesting stuff we can go through in terms of that as well. Even on the margin.
The East got better. They added Herder. Jose Alvarado's a really interesting piece for the Knicks. He plays your behind defense, but in the backcourt.
Yeah. I mean, it's just remarkable. I did an interview with him last year. I'll have to go find it. Might recycle it to use it for another video. But it's remarkable that he continues to hide in the corner after his team scores and comes up from behind and gets those steals. It really is.
Well, it's crazy because Jaylen Brown actually saw him. Yeah. And still got ripped. Yeah,
right.
That was crazy.
Right. Well, Jaylen Brown has that reputation, right? The dribble, no matter what he does, no matter how good he'll look, he can't quite shake this shaky dribble rep that he's got, right?
He brought it a little too close to the body when Alvarado was behind him, and then he just tipped it. He brought it closer to him.
Right. So but that's kind of what you think you want to do. You don't want the ball out away from your body, right?
Well, it's closer to your stomach, which is closer to behind you. So in most situations, when you're playing with somebody in front of you, that's the truth. Yeah. But he kind of brought it almost too close for Alvarado. He saw him. I guess Jaylen Brown saw him and figured, okay, he saw that I saw him, so he's going to let up now, Right. But he didn't,
No. No,
Yeah,
he'll.
yeah.
And by the way, that guy Alvarado's got a chip on his shoulder. I mean, I was doing a friendly interview with him, and I felt like he was mad at me, like he was ready to
Hey,
guard.
look, when you're like, how tall is he?
Shorter than me, you know,
How tall are you?
6 feet.
He's shorter than 6 foot. He's not like a super knockdown shooter. He could hit a three. But he can really hold up defensively too.
Yeah,
Like more than Tyler Kolek and Jalen Brunson. Like he could keep him in front. You know, you can't back him down as much.
yeah,
So
yeah. He's a bulldog in there. You stick him on the ball handlers, and he'll go out there and create havoc. And you give him the 15 minutes a game on a good team, and changes the he's like that guy you're talking about when you change the defense, you go from zone to man, whatever. Throw him out there for a few minutes, and that changes everything too for a little while. Because what you saw with Jaylen Brown was, like, as soon as he got focused on that, what he should have kept doing was just going up the court, like go fast, get up the court,
yeah,
basketball or something. And instead he stops, right? And now he's doing like trying to put him in jail, whatever he's doing now, and then it's over. He's too quick, too low to the ground.
But then you're almost, if you go fast, then you're almost speeding up the offense, which is kind of advantage Knicks too in the same sense.
Yeah, you just don't want to get stuck near that in the midcourt line where then you get stuck. You can't go backcourt again, and it's like there's no more room. Alvarado's got so much, experience doing this. He knows how to make that work. But I'm just shocked because he'll still even do the thing where he's hiding and then come up from behind and knock it away. And, teams seem like they're ready for it. They know it, and they still get stung by it. It's truly remarkable.
Yeah, he's going to be a difference maker. Also, he feels like he's a leader. Like he's constantly talking, constantly letting people know where to go. It felt like a seamless fit, and it looks like Tyler Kolek will probably get less minutes now because that's definitely an upgrade for the backup.
By the way, there was this big argument on my Twitter feed about Kolek and how good he was, but everyone's like, well, he doesn't really play that much, and you're making it out to be way more than he was. And I think that's true. I think a lot of his numbers probably are reflected in, when he's not playing a ton of close game minutes either. But he's okay.
Well, he had some big games though, like in the NBA Cup. He had a nice stretch, where he showed flashes. So
all right. I could see them having the battle for the minutes at least, and we'll see what's going on.
Alvarado will probably play more playoff minutes if I had to guess.
That's interesting. Yeah, and we'll see. And I'm sure they're going to tighten up the rotations just like Tibbs did in the regular season. They'll just do that in the playoffs. And so, those guys will have and by the way, you can get 12, 14 minutes in a playoff game and still have a big impact and, change a game or two here on the margins here or there. So we'll see how that plays out, but keep your eye on that. Did we wrap up the Harden thing? I mean, what I did in the video on Harden, and please go back and watch it if you didn't, because it still has a lot of, it's appropriate even now after he got there. Because you can see that they're doing exactly what I showed in one of those the Zoom action where they're having like Mitchell screen for Harden, who's then getting a handoff coming off, which is really exciting to see them interacting together on a couple different plays. They even had a great out of bounds play where Mitchell is in front of the rim and they kind of clear out.
Yeah,
and he's just kind of looking away and pretending like, oh, I'm not part of this. And then Harden just lost it to him and he puts it right over the smaller defender. Like that's kind of the chemistry that you're looking for right away that they're developing, because that's kind of the uncommunicated communication you have to have.
I did that yesterday. Nobody cares, but I did that yesterday in pickup. But the guy was at the top and the small guy was guarding me, but he kind of thought I was coming off a screen, but it was just like right here at the basket, over the defense, easy layup with the right hand.
Yeah. So, but again, the key with that out of bounds play was neither of them were looking at each other. They were all kind of pretending they were focused on something else, and then poof, you get it, and then the defender.
That happens, man. Yeah.
Because if Harden has said something, then the defense would have been ready, right? But he can't say anything, can't even look over there. Really, he's got to hope that they get it.
These guys are some of the best basketball players in the world, and they showed that you throw two of the best basketball players out in the world. There's a world that they'll figure it out, and that's what they did. Yeah.
And what you have to watch for is and I did see it once where Mitchell ISO'd, got cut off, lost his dribble, it was over, and then when you throw it out from there. A lot of times, I think the Cavs were having trouble, especially when Garland wasn't around. He kick it out to somebody who's not a playmaker, and then everything dies. You got to reset, and the clock's going down. Now he might kick it out, and it might be Harden who gets that ball, and then he can create something off of that, which is really important. So that's what you got to watch for.
Two guys that could create something out of nothing, for sure, at an elite level. And man, James Harden's like, it's a good shift to Cam Thomas. He's like the anti-Cam Thomas when it comes to passing,
Mm-hmm.
Like Cam Thomas can't see any pass, and James Harden sees every pass. And that's why part of the reason why Cam Thomas got waived, even though he's an elite ISO scorer, which is really interesting, a guy that averaged 24 points a game. had back-to-back 40 games
Yeah.
in his early 20s, and he found a home with the Bucks. Is that because the Bucks are trying to tank, or because they see him for the long-term future?
I don't know. I mean, it sucks for Cam Thomas because I'm sure like he knows that he's a bucket, he could score, but he's not efficient, and that's the problem. And so when you're looking at these teams he's been on where he's just kind of like doing his own thing and not being part of an offense. It's not necessarily a winning formula, right? And he's struggling this year to get minutes, to get shots. So
I think that the defense and the game managing is even more of a problem than the efficiency. Like he's really not good in those two areas, and that's what makes it tough for him.
Right, and because he could be like average in that, and if you're gonna, if you're scoring 20 some a game, okay, you can get by, but he's not. He's below average in what you said. So it's like, is he destined to end up being, in Europe?
China feels like the place where you could just go get buckets. Europe, Europe is tough, man. Like you got to play.
Take that either. They wouldn't.
What? Like you have to play.
Like Mike James, though.
Yeah. He like that's the person I think of who like defies the odds. So talented, such a great scorer. But if you're not doing that, like you got to play the right way in Europe.
Yeah, and there's things for as much as he isos and scores like that in Europe, in EuroLeague. He does pass and he does manage the game as well in a way that's helps. So we'll see. Maybe he can have a little bit of a come to Jesus moment and realize that and kind of understand how to be in more of the flow. But he's definitely one of those guys. There's a handful where if you're on his team and you're going to pass it to him, the thought has to cross your mind before you pass it to him. Like, is this the one I want to make? Because I know that the ball will not get passed again.
I don't see his game translating in EuroLeague really.
Yeah,
I don't know. I mean, he maybe just such a great scorer that it don't matter, but like you got to make like good reads, you get it's a different style of play.
Yeah. And like, I'm working with a kid right now who's scoring, 30 some a game in high school. And I'm like, if you're going to take some of these shots, and you got to make sure that you're the best teammate in the league, not just on your team, in the league. Like, and I use, Steph and Dame as a good example where like they'll take off the dribble threes without passing the ball, right? Like they come across the half court and just let it fly. And one of the reasons why they're able to do that is because they're such good teammates that their teammates themselves don't necessarily get mad. First of all, you got to make enough of them, right, to justify it. But you also got to be you got to be a good teammate that people like, because if they don't like you and then you're going to start jacking up some threes without passing the ball, like that's going to engender a lot of ill will, and that's bad for the team. And so it's important that way. And we're not even saying that Cam Thomas is a bad teammate or not either, but that's part of the plan is you got to be someone that they like on your team to be able to get away with those shots.
Yeah, I was talking to CP, Knicks Fan TV. I actually connected you with him recently. He was like, he didn't want Cam Thomas at all in the Knicks. Like, he didn't want any part of it. I was like, wow, that's interesting, because why would you just wave a guy like that,
I mean, vibes are important, and vibe disruptors.
Well, you just said you're not sure he's a bad teammate. That's kind of like my point,
I mean, yeah. Well, then, I can only see facts. Is that he got cut. A team that's not going to play for any more wins.
So when you get waived, they got to pay him that $6 million, right?
Oh, gosh, I believe they do, unless there's something in the contract about it.
Right. Yeah.
But I think
I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure. If he's only
thing is they were so willing to get him off the team that they're going to pay him even though he's not.
I mean, like Portland did that with Ayton.
You know what it might end up being. Forgive me. I used to kind of know a little bit some of that waving stuff better, but it might be that they pay the difference. Whatever the Bucks, they'll pay the rest of it they owe him.
Yeah. It was like that. I remember it was like that in Europe. Yeah.
At any rate, but yeah, it's rough. It's rough to see, a player who, obviously has a lot of confidence and feels like they belong in the league, in a precarious position now. It comes up where the reports were that like they don't want to play Giannis the rest of the year, right? They're trying to maintain hold on their pick and maximize their first round pick. And I don't know if Giannis is okay with that.
I don't know either. I haven't talked to him. What do you think?
I would be willing to say, and in knowing a little bit about the background of the situation, that he would not, to be honest, would not be okay with that. And he might have even been surprised that came out. But that, because he's injured and he's rehabbing, and I'm sure he intends to come back from the calf injury, and play. Now, remember, the calf injuries are a little bit scary these days, right? Because they're connected to the Achilles stuff. And so you
Yes.
see why the Bucks would be like, nope, that's it, forget it.
Speaking of injuries, Trey and AD aren't playing right now. How did you feel about the Wizards trade deadline moves?
I don't know, man. Like it's weird. They have a lot of young players. Now they're going to throw a couple of these guys in there as a sprinkling to suddenly turn the corner. Like I don't know. I just don't. I don't think AD is ever going to be healthy, right?
You gave up second round picks for Trey Young and AD and Corey Kispert and CJ. Obviously, we're all in that as well. But
Yeah.
well, I mean that's a good return on some box office appeal if AD could stay healthy. And then
Right.
I do like the fit with AD and Trey. I think AD is the lob threat that Trey needs, and then he also could clean up some of what Trey lacks defensively. So I do like that star fit too. And then also on top of that, if you could draft AJ DeBansa, you got your guard, you got your three, you got your big. I mean, it's
You
exciting.
think Bansa's ready to go from day one?
Oh yeah, that guy's. I mean, look, he's gonna have to figure some things out in the league, but athletically,
Yeah.
I mean, he's like the type of guy that like he can make a mistake and fix it with his length and athleticism mid play. You know, like
I mean, he hit a game winner on the most unfundamental kind of like really
that's
bad.
what I'm saying.
Off balance, the whole thing, and he still makes it.
Sometimes talent defies the fundamentals. Like, he's one of those guys. You know, he's going to wake up and average at least 15. You know,
well, that's what talent is, right? Talent is when you are not fundamental with whatever, and you still are successful. You can find ways.
Then Kobe is like both, and then you get like a Kobe Bryant, right? Like the elite of both. Even though some people will say that Kobe wasn't that athletic, which was ridiculous, but whatever.
Right. Oh, he was athletic, but I don't know why did you just reference Michael then?
Well, nobody ever said Michael isn't athletic. I remember like Gilbert going off on like Kobe, like, you know, average hands. He was a good athlete, but not a great athlete. Like that guy was pretty athletic. He was East Baying in dunk contest. He wasn't Michael Jordan, but he was a very great athlete.
Yeah, I mean, you know, he had that one reverse where everyone I still like, whoa, like where did that come from? You know, and maybe he falls down after the reverse.
The first step. It wasn't Mike's first step, but he had a first step. He had all that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he was like as close as you're going to get to Michael, like in terms of a clone, you know, of what he did. But that's what he lacked. He didn't quite have that extra gear. But
he didn't have like the Bo Jackson, LeBron, Michael Jordan, Anthony Edwards athleticism, but he wasn't that far off either at the same time. You know, he was a good athlete.
No, he wasn't. Yeah, I mean, if you, gosh, we're prepared to talk about Kobe, but like he probably maximized his ability for the most part. My only problem I ever had with Kobe was the shot selection. It was frustrating in that Cam Thomas mode, by the way.
No, please do not put Kobe Bryant and Cam Thomas in the same.
But there's a mindset there, right? And he would do that too. And it was like, he just wouldn't want to pass, and he's going to take the worst shot. Now, I always crown him as the best bad shot maker in the NBA, probably of all time.
I think a lot of people crown him as that.
Yeah. He took bad shots. You know, Iverson took bad shots, and Kobe was better at making them than Iverson was.
Interesting. I also think you do need a player to be able to make those tough shots, right? Especially in playoff games, championship games, right? Like when the defense is good, the defense is set. You know, that could kind of break a team's will too. You know.
Yeah, they can for sure. You know, we'll see that. So, let's talk a little bit about. You know, I actually did a deep dive on on Sengun. Did you happen to notice that Ime, lit him up a little bit in the post game on the 4th?
Yeah, man. Do you want to go first? I have my thoughts about Sengun, but you could go ahead.
Well, let's just set it up real quick. I mean, like some reporter asked him after they played the Celtics, you know, it looked like they were targeting Sengun, and what are you going to do about that or something? And he goes, well, that's been the way since I got here. And, you know, it wasn't completely lighting him up, but, you know, I'm a little bit wary about when the coaches publicly will, you know, criticize and say bad stuff about their players because, you know, obviously the players will see that and they have to maintain this relationship, and it'd be worth probably talking about them, you know, in a different way, in a more positive light, and publicly, and then you can talk about them to their face directly. But yeah, okay. So the crux of the matter being that Sengun is not a good defender. We subsequently saw after that game a couple of clips that people want to point to. But what's your take on his defense on Sengun?
Well, it was never good. But he's just a very, very good basketball player, and it was like that when he was coming out of Turkey, being the MVP of the Turkish league at 19 years old. But the skepticism was, can he fit in the modern NBA? Because he wasn't really a great shooter and he couldn't really defend that well, especially against guards. So those were always two talking points around him. I mean, you knew drafting him that he wasn't going to be Hakeem Olajuwon on defense. So that's what you get with Sengun, but you also get a very good basketball player. Like Jokic is the best player in the league without being an elite defender, and Sengun's going to be one of the top big men without being a very good defender. How you build around that is interesting. So, yeah, that's my thoughts. I mean, he's never going to be elite defensively, but he's always going to be elite as a player.
For sure. Now, and here's my take. So I went through that game. I'm like, okay, what are we talking about here? It's obviously a reaction to a specific game against the Celtics. So I watched every minute that he played on the defensive end. And I got to tell you, he was not targeted. Because here's what I take. When I hear targeted, I'm like, okay, they set a pick and roll with his man. They force a switch, and now he's on an island, and he's guarding a point guard out on the perimeter. That's what you do when you target somebody, right? Isn't that fair to say?
Fair.
Okay. Never happened. Did not happen. It maybe happened once the whole game. And I think when it happened once, Derek White pulled up for a midi and he missed. So that's hardly targeting anybody. And I got to tell you, he was really good. He was quarterbacking the defense. He moves well, right? He can move from like the low post and close out well. Mm-hmm. He was closing out well. He was covering flare cuts and then coming and having multiple, efforts on defense. I was shocked or confused by anything that they would have said badly about his defense. And here's the other thing that's the thing. Like you mentioned, his numbers, okay, he averages like this year, for instance, it's probably about what his careers are. He's averaging about 21 points a game and over 6 assists. Now, I think I got to go through it, but it's safe to say that of those 6 assists, there's at least 1 or 2 are threes, right? I have to believe that he's kicking them out for threes, right? A couple of those. So the total number of points he's contributing on the offensive end is 20 plus 12, call it 14, call it almost 34 points, okay? He's giving up, I would say, certainly based on what we saw. He had one bad play where he tried to reach in on Garza, and it was really bad. And then Garza drives, kicks to the corner. Nobody covered for him, by the way. It would have been nice if Ahmed had covered for him because he was closer. And he has to force to run to the weak side corner, get a hand up, and the guy hit a 3. But I'm telling you right now, in terms of direct relationship to what Sengun caused, he might have been on the hook for 8 points, maybe tops 8. Okay, he's contributing 30 plus on the other side. I don't see how you could ever, point to him as being a real problem defensively then.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he's the greatest defender as a big in the league or anything, but I see what you're saying. I feel you.
Yeah, but what I'm seeing is I'll see drop coverage. This is where you get the real problem.
Well, right? There were a few games recently, and I was watching. I can't put my finger on which game. They were targeting him, though. They were hunting him.
Well, here's what's interesting is, that game, if it's a post-game press conference, you're supposed to ask questions about that game. And, as far as I'm concerned, the reporter that asked that question was silly, like doesn't know what they're watching because it didn't happen, and then it led to that email quote. So that's another one of those weird things where it's like, well, now I guess the only saving grace for that reporter would have been if I go back and watch the 3 games before that and I'm seeing the targeting, and he's now asking in terms of like the last few games. But it didn't happen in this Celtics game at all.
So media members get paid by platforms to create attention for their platform so they could sell commercials and advertisements. Is that correct?
I mean, that's certainly the underlying. I mean, they're supposed to cover the game and ask questions that are
okay. So we're talking about this. So obviously it was shared, and obviously it was good for the outlet. So that reporter's doing his job, right?
Yes. So yeah, right. They got the soundbite they wanted, right? That's all that matters.
Or maybe it's I don't even know if he was expecting that, but it obviously went viral.
Yeah, and it's like, okay, you're watching the game and you don't have a trained eye, and so you see like him, Sengun, throw up his arms a few times after the bucket goes in, and somehow in your mind it means, well, that must be because he did it, or someone looked at him and threw up their arms. And you actually watch play, and he was on the weak side. Didn't matter. He wasn't part of the scoring play.
Do you think it's needed for a media member who kind of, they probably went to college, they probably studied journalism to like be a basketball expert?
Well, that's what's interesting. It used to not be a thing. And when you watched the coverage and read the coverage, it wasn't even watching. You read the coverage of NBA when I was growing up. It was so not detailed, right? It was so like on the edges and like basic understanding barely of like how basketball worked. They didn't know. The coaches didn't talk to them too much about it. You know what I mean? It was sort of that was for years and years and decades, and that's how it was covered. Now, though, thanks to people well, I guess like me, right? A lot of the fans are much more sophisticated and they understand the game a lot more. So I think, yes, the bar should be a lot higher now to get into those situations where you're asking questions.
Well, a lot of, I don't know that guy's situation, but a lot of them spend many years in this profession and then they get to a certain point, right? Like they put in the work over years, even though they don't know basketball that well. You know what I mean? So they're in that profession. They keep on moving up. What are you going to tell them? Like, you can't work for me anymore now because you're not.
Yeah. No, I think you tell them you better study this.
They're kind of in a different profession, right? Like they're not at home breaking down film every day. Like a lot of these guys, you know what I mean? And also, and then a lot of them never played, and a lot of them probably never coached, and they just like basketball, and they put they're all into being a journalist, you know?
Yeah, and by the way, the never played thing, that's fine with me. You don't need to have to play to understand the game well as anybody. There's lots of coaches who didn't play at a high level, let's say. I'm sure they played somewhere, but they didn't play at a high level. And they're
yeah, when you go viral, people like outside of who know you directly, like kind of sees your stuff. I get so many like he never played ball. He never played ball. Yeah, right. I get a lot of that. It's funny, man. I love that.
Yeah. I hear you. Well, you have to battle the appearance factor, I suppose.
Oh, okay. I don't look like a basketball player. I got you.
Right. By the way,
I think if they saw me in person, they might think.
Yeah. Oh no, I was good for a few threes in the beginning of all those pickup games because they didn't think I could play. Because I jump into those games. They were good games, right? And but by the time I hit the second one, I think I would be letting them know that you should guard me out there. So that's fun, and that you can work to your advantage. But the bottom line is that you don't need to be able to play. It helps, I'm sure. It's nice to have that perspective of whatever level. If you can,
it is tough. I think it. Like I'm not mad at anybody not playing basketball. Like I talked about this with Doug Gottlieb before. He's like, I asked him about this years ago. He's like, look, I cover football. I never played football. I never coached football, but I cover football. So I can't say that about basketball. But I would also say when you hear somebody that never played, some of it just sounds off though. Like when they're talking.
Yeah.
I'm not going to name names. And they're actually like very consistent and very hard workers and they're known. But when you hear them talking, it's like, I don't know. It's something like nails on a chalkboard when you hear it. For me personally, as like somebody that played basketball my whole life since I was 7, I'm like, man.
Yeah, that's not right. I hear you. There is something to that to some degree. But again, I'm not going to say that a guy can't be a terrific analyst.
Well, you could. I mean, with the internet, if you put the work in and you know how to edit and whatever, like. You could get to where you have to go, even if you never played. Obviously.
Yeah. I mean, I'd argue coaching is probably even more valuable if you want to write about it and cover games. I think that's
the coach. I feel like the coaching is terrible in the United States. Terrible.
Well, in terms of development, or in terms of X's and O's, or what?
Everything. It's just bad. It's bad.
Wow.
It's bad. It's too much of a focus on one-on-one basketball.
Yeah.
And the development of players is just. It's like everything's revolved around like ISO scoring.
Yeah. You know what's funny? I did this on Sunday. I'm working with this kid who's really good. And, you start to fall in that trap where you're like, okay, we're going to work on your step back threes, right? Because you can make those or whatever. But what am I really doing? I'm coaching the kid to be more of an ISO scorer, right? But I also make sure that in the context of these moves, understand like where and how you can get them out of them. So we had a couple other people come in to work out with them, and we did a really cool drill where I had one of the players at the high post, and I had one-on-one on the perimeter, but they had to throw to the high post and run get action, playing off it, whatever. So they're playing one-on-one sort of, but out of a team concept. And it was fun. It was really cool to see that.
Yeah, that's almost like Cavs guy stuff, right? Like game situation. What's it called? Restricted, constraint,
constraint. Constraint let it see on.
I'm just saying, like even me coming from the States to playing overseas, I was like talented enough to do whatever I had to do, but there were a lot of things I had to learn from a team perspective playing overseas. Like they just understand certain things at a way higher level than we do. Way higher in terms of team basketball. And that's back then. That's a while ago. But just, I mean, you're seeing they're like teaching the kids how to read the game at 10 years old instead of just let's work on our right-hand dribble. Let's work on our left-hand dribble. Yeah. Let's work on our crossover. Let's work on our jump shot. It's like team first, and then you can get the skills later, or let's learn the skills in a team atmosphere,
Oh, yeah. And that's kind of, you know what? I think I need to move to Europe. Maybe I'll have to leave.
Well, I tell you, like, if you really want your kid to be the best version, it'd be good for them to go play in Europe for a year.
Yeah.
You know, we actually saw it with Kobe, right? Like, he grew up over there. I think it could help a lot of kids.
Yeah, but Kobe didn't play that team basketball that most Europeans play.
You do though, but just growing up in that, you do learn certain things that, like, you have even though if you're like a ball hog or whatever, you learn certain things about the game that you just don't learn here.
Right. And so the argument would be he understood that. He understood how to do that. He just made a conscious decision not to do that because he bristled against the triangle offense the whole time, which as a triangle offense coach was, a real frustrating sticking point with me. So so that was part of it. My reaction to him too is like, just let the offense create for you. You'll shoot a lot higher percentage. You'll get better shots. Your teammates will be, more in the flow. And he just rejected that as much as he possibly could, even with Shaq. And that was frustrating because there was a winning formula that no one was going to beat him that way.
Kobe was chasing Mike, though.
I know.
Yeah, that was part of it. There was an individual aspect, and then there was a team aspect, and he had to get the team accolades to become the best individual ever. And it was all there, So that it was.
Well, you know how I looked at it? I was like, remember the shrug, right? After Michael hit 6 threes in the finals. What we got from that, at least what I get from that, is that even Michael was like, "Gosh, I can't even believe. Like, I'm just playing in the moment. I'm letting the game."
I don't want to age myself. I watched that game for my TV. Like,
I was at that game. So,
yeah. Wait, that wasn't in Portland. That was in Chicago.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I remember that. I was watching. I know what room I was in my mom's house now.
Yeah. Oh no, we were all there, and like I'm telling you, the entire Chicago stadium was like levitating.
It's crazy.
Nobody believe it. It was like, what? Another one? So the point being that he's playing in the moment, letting the game come to him easy, the ball comes out in the skin, and then there's a shrug. Kobe would try and force those moments. He wanted to create those moments on purpose, and it's harder to do that if not impossible. So I don't think that Kobe really had any of those moments. Did he ever have a moment like that where we all look back, the shrug? He has like the game winner against Miami.
81.
Yeah, but it's not like a singular moment, like a spectacular move when Michael goes up and then goes down and then left-handed.
Oh, yeah. He don't have the Craig Elo shot. He don't have the spectacular move. He don't have the final shot against Byron Russell.
Lots of moves, but nothing defined him that way. And part of the reason why I kind of think is because he tried to force it. And
Jordan had the moments, man.
Got to be in the moment.
Jordan had the moments. That's why I was debating this, like, KD or Michael Jordan, greatest Team USA player ever. Like, I said, like, you remember Michael Jordan walking underneath the Barcelona sign more than anything KD ever did on the court.
Right.
He has it's different when it comes to moments. I also do think part of that's the social media era, right? Like, our attention's so fragmented. So can we have moments that everybody remembers, like the Jordan last shot? Can we have them these days?
So. Oh, and this Jordan last shot. I think so, in the sense that we recognize when it's in the flow and you're playing and you're just in the moment and that happens versus, like that was, and because a lot of times you don't get the moment when you're trying to get the moment.
100%.
And that's sort of, I think, what we learned from Kobe. The game 7 against the Celtics where they won, it was like, Ron Artest hit a 3 and, he shot horribly in that game, primarily because he was trying to like force everything because I'm the man, I got to have these moments, and they weren't going to come.
Totally agree.
You know what I mean? That's why it's like, and that's the thing we're talking about, maybe even with the European stuff. It's like, you have to be in the moment, read in what's going on. You can't decide I'm going to shoot this 10 seconds before you get the ball. That usually yields poor results. Wouldn't you say, as a former pro?
Yeah, no, it's funny. I was playing pickup against J.R. Smith, and that's what I noticed about him. Maybe he was working on his game against me, but I could tell, like, in his mind after guarding him a few times, like, this guy's predetermining what he's about to do. He's not really reading the game.
Yeah. And
maybe that's why such a talented player like him was never an all-star. Shouts to JR if you're watching, but it's like you were too talented not to become a multiple-time all-star because you weren't. I think part of it might be you weren't really reading the game, and we saw he was his best version with LeBron when he doesn't really have to think like too much, like just catch and shoot, play defense.
Right.
Was that a little? Was that too crazy? What do you know?
No. I'm just saying he doesn't have to think, and that's what happened in game 1.
Exactly. But with LeBron, he's like a basketball computer. He can almost think for everybody. So that's like a great fit when you have that kind of talent who doesn't really read the game. You put him with LeBron, it kind of like
until it comes up where he mismanages the clock and didn't realize they were down. Remember?
Yeah, of course. But
Yeah.
it's interesting.
So-
But this is a great convo. We need AI to be clipping all of this, and we need them back. You know, we might have 20 viral clips in here. You know,
All right, I'm sending the email to Jonathan
and send them this link. Send them this link.
No,
Yeah,
forgive me. It's just it's not. Sometimes AI just doesn't fire properly, and it's you don't know why. And so
we're viral this episode, Coach Nick. I'm telling you.
really. All right. Well, I think that let's leave them on wanting more. Then this is a great show, and we got lots of stuff coming up. We're heading into the All-Star break. When are you getting into town, man?
I think I want to do something with you content-wise on Sunday evening. What do you think? We record a show Sunday evening. I'm looking at my schedule. Does that work for you?
Okay. Well,
And
after the All-Star game.
Yeah, so we kind of recap everything. That's what I'm thinking. And then hopefully we're doing something in the arena. That's more Coach Nick. I don't know. That's behind the scenes stuff. He's figuring all that out for us.
We are working on it right now as we speak. So yeah, but when you land?
Friday. I'm Friday evening. Yeah.
All right, cool. All right, well, we'll have some fun stuff, everybody, coming up. So keep your eyes and your notifications peeled for all of that. And don't forget, sports fans, at B-Ball Breakdown, we're not a channel, we're a conversation. You in? Are you in, Combo?
Yes, sir.